Yo, what's up, guys? This Topics, and you've probably seen some creators put out a video regarding the um, Mythic Plus changes that were just dropped. Some huge news coming out. This is for Season 2. You can see stuff like Challenger's Peril Effect moved to 12s, Gilded Crests available from 7s. So I've heard a lot of people go over these changes and give their opinions on whether they are good or bad. But I kind of wanted to go over this to talk about the implications and what that means for the game. So I'm going to take a different approach to it because I'm sure we all have different opinions on these, and I will definitely give mine. But I wanted to read this over and give my opinion and then talk about the implications. So let's not drag this on. I'm not sure if I should read the blue post or these changes first. You know what? I'll let you guys go ahead and go read the blue post, because that's just a lot to read. They're just explaining why they're making the decisions they are making. So let's just read the summary up here. So, and we're going to talk about each one. Gilded Crests available from +7s. I'm going to read all of these and then go over them because some of them tie into each other. Hero Track available from +6s. Mythic 0 drops champion gear. Tyrannical and Fortify move to level 7 and level 10, and Challenger's Peril removed. Don't let this fool you. And then Guile at +12 includes the effects of Challenger's Peril instead of additional stats. And then at +12 keys cannot deplete past that level once you've timed every dungeon at that difficulty. Time all 13s. Keys cannot deplete past 13. The 2850 mount has been moved to 3000. Okay, so with that being said, I want to talk about the Gilded Crests available from 7s and the Hero Track available from +6s. And in order to do that, I think I need to find a piece of information down here that they did not include. Let me search for something. I'm looking for the number 7, and you'll see why. Okay, so this is what I was looking for, the number 7. So they didn't include this in the summary. From Mythic 2 through to 10, each new level will now increase the health and damage of enemies by 7%, down from the previous 10%. Per level scaling will remain at 10% for Mythic 11 and onwards. So before, you guys, it would be Mythic 2, and then it would be plus 10% health and damage of enemies at +3, and then it would be another 10% at +4, and it would just go up by 10. Now it's only going up by 7 all the way up till 10. So at a +10 level, they're plus 70% damage and health compared to a Mythic 0. And then once you hit 11, it'll start jumping up to 10. So it's plus 7% health and damage up to +10, and then at 11, it'll start going up by 10%. So what this means is, before, in order to reach 100% extra health and damage, you would have needed to get to a +10 because it went up by 10 each step. Now, in order to reach that, you'll be at 70% at +10, and then you'll need an extra 3 key levels. So now it'll be a +13 before you get 100% health and damage. So that means that it's a three extra key levels easier. So the reason why I wanted to talk about that is the current +10 on live right now is how difficult a +13 is going to be, which means you're going to be able to climb keys a little bit more. So, if you were doing +10s for your weekly vault, you're going to be doing +13s for them in Season 2. Well, actually, you won't be doing that because the rewards are changed. But that's just an example. Like, it'll be a lot easier to do 13s now. The current +12s, which is the threshold for a lot of people on live right now, there's a big jump there. That's going to be equal to Season 2's +15s. So whatever the key level is now, you can add 3 more to it, and that's most likely what you'll be doing in Season 2. The reason I wanted to go over that is because Gilded Crests being available from +7s in the new season, that's like doing a +4 right now. So it's going to be extremely easy to get Gilded Crests now. Which, probably on live it was really hard for some people to farm these if they weren't usually doing Mythic Plus, and maybe Mythic Raid was not an option. It was almost impossible for them to get Gilded Crests if they couldn't do, the current level +7s. But now +7s will be equal to like +4s. And Hero Track being available from +6s in the new season is like the current 3s. So if you can do a +3 Mythic Keystone right now on live, you're going to be able to do +6s in Season 2, and it'll be very easy for you to get Hero Track gear. Mythic Zero is dropping Champion Track gear. I'm assuming this is because in Season 1 it wasn't dropping Champion Track, and there was almost like no point in doing them. If you guys remember the first couple seasons, people were just doing delves because there was absolutely no reason to do Mythic Zero. They just didn't drop good gear. Now there'll actually be a reason to do Mythic Zeros in the early weeks of Season 2. Tyrannical and Fortify moved to level 7 and 10. Right now they were 4 and 10, and now it's going to be 7 and 10. So you're having to progress a little bit further to actually hit that first affix. But again, a new level 7 is going to be like the current level 4. So it's not going to feel any more difficult once you get there. They're just moving where it is because of the key level increase and easiness. The Guile at +12 now includes Challenger's Peril instead of additional stats. So there's no Challenger's Peril at 7. They're moving it to 12. And there's no increase in stats. So that jump from 11 to 12 doesn't exist anymore. It's just a regular jump like any other key. It's not going to feel like a brick wall. The only difference is you're going to have Challenger's Peril still, and that's it. And the new +12 is like the current +9. So it's as if you were to receive Challenger's Peril on the current +9 key on live instead of +7. So they definitely are moving it up a little bit further in the difficulty chain. They probably felt like it was too punishing to people that were doing lower keys right now. So I think this is fine. In a high key, without Challenger's Peril, there's a good chance on a lot of wipes the key would be over anyway, just because of having to redo a boss or the walk back or whatever it is. So I'm not too worried about this affecting high key pushers. I think this is good, moving it out of the low keys. But the biggest one that everyone's talking about is this. At 12 plus keys, you cannot deplete past that level once you've timed every dungeon in that difficulty. Same with 13s, 14s, and so on. So I think this is mostly good. There are some implications to this, though. So if you're a high key pusher and you have all dungeons at 12, your key can't deplete below that. So, let's say you get to 14s and you have all 14s timed, your key can't deplete below that. But usually that's not the case. Like on live, a lot of people have maybe 4 15s and 4 14s, or maybe they have all 16s and 1 17. So you're still going to have a little bit of homework keys, but it's not going to be nearly what it used to be. Your key's not going to deplete to a 13 because you decided to list it in LFG, and then down to a 12 because you pugged it. And next thing you know, it's sent to the Shadow Realm. Next thing you know, you have a +10 key, and you've just completely, your key's been depleted into the ground because you didn't have a team and pugs were destroying your key. Like, that's not going to be a thing anymore, which is awesome because that was a huge problem in Season 1, in my opinion. Your key may still deplete one level if you don't have all keys at the same level, but likelihood you have, like I said before, all 13s and maybe some 12s. So your key may only deplete one level down to 12, and then you just got to push it back up. So I think it's going to be a pretty even 50-50 split of doing progression keys where you actually get IO and doing homework keys. On live, if you're pushing high keys, depending on how high it's pushing, you could have like a 90-10 split or maybe like a 95-5 split. I know myself, I'm doing almost purely homework keys right now. Once I get an IO key, I'm so pumped because I barely get any chances of IO keys. And that's going to be far different in Season 2. So I'm excited to actually be doing meaningful keys again and not be spending hours and hours doing homework keys. The negative implications of this are, if you have a pre-made, you're basically never going to list your key ever. You will never see people that have pre-made groups ever listing their keys in LFG. I know that sometimes if pre-made people, maybe they depleted their key really, really far, they would list it in LFG. That's not going to happen anymore because they're just not going to be depleting their keys more than like one level. And even if you're someone that normally pugs, sometimes you'd see someone with high IO listing their key. You're not going to see that anymore because they'll never list a key lower than like one level, right? Like if I'm someone with 15s and 14s and my key depletes to a 14, I'm going to list that. But right now, let's say I'm regularly doing 15s and I got really unlucky, super bad, series of events happened and my key depleted to 11. You'd see someone with high IO listing their 11, try and push it back up. You're not going to see that. So the level of players are really going to congregate around a certain key level, and you're not going to really see high IO people pushing low keys anymore. And that's good and bad. It's good for the people with those high keys because you're not going to have low level people applying mostly, and you're not going to have your key depleting down to 11s, 10s, whatever. But it's bad for the low key level pushers because they're not going to have a chance to see some of those high keys unless they gradually work their way up there, because there'll be no high IO people listing their low keys. And I am also worried that, people are going to want to give 2, 3, 4 tries at some of these keys. Let's say you do have all 15s timed. If you get a 15 key, you're just going to be able to try that thing over and over and over again until you get it, because it cannot deplete lower. So, I mean, you may just stick with your group for hours trying to progress this key, and you're not going to see it listed in LFG. So I definitely think we're going to see far less keys listed in the group finder because of that, which can be bad for a lot of people. It's good in the sense that it's going to force you to team up and dive into that social aspect of WoW. It's supposed to be a team game. You're definitely going to be more encouraged to look for a team because there will be less keys in group finder, knowing that if you do find a team, you can just try that key over and over. So, the 2850 mount's been moved to 3000 just because keys have been made easier. So it's not harder to get it now. They're just trying to accurately reflect keys being made easier. This is actually, keys have been made 3 levels easier, which is like 300 IO. So this is actually easier to get. They should have actually moved this to 3150, but they've only moved it to 3000. So they've actually made this easier to get. I don't think there's many gear implications here. The people that can't really progress high IO keys, they're going to be able to get geared a lot faster. They're going to have access to better gear, but I mean, we're not inviting people right now based on eye level anyway. You're inviting them based on their class and their IO and what your composition needs. So I don't think there's really any bad implications to these 3 things here. And I think it's just good implications to this. You're taking the challenger's parallel of lower keys, and you're not adding the tyrannical fortified to 7. So it's allowing entry into Mythic Plus a lot more for people that were worried. They're not going to face as many challenges getting into Mythic Plus. So I think that's good that it opens the doors. I'm just worried about the amount of keys that we're going to see in LFG now that you can spam your key level a lot more and it doesn't deplete in a lot of cases. We'll have to see what effect that has in the group finder. That's to be determined. So, but those are my takes. Those are the implications that I see. I definitely think this is overall positive, just with that one negative implication. So that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Really interested to see how this plays out. And I have another video coming for you guys this weekend on if it's the players or Blizzard that impacts or dictates the meta more. And I posted a community post on YouTube and on my X, and you guys voted, so we're going to be going over those, and I'm going to be breaking it down. I probably have an interesting take for you guys, so we'll see you guys in the next one, and thanks for the support.